So actually, there was a discussion on cyclic photophosphorylation in the previous video. It was a short video, so I'm continuing with the non-cyclic photophosphorylation. There I had stopped with saying about the proton-Motive force. Please understand that proton-Motive force will enter the protons will enter the ATP synthesis channel and help in ATP synthesis, which is just like your oxidative phosphorylation. I'll continue that now with the non-cyclic. I may continue with C3 cycle also. Let us see the length of the video. Okay. Yeah, I'll just continue with the topic. So as I was telling you, the proton-Motive force which is entering the ATP synthesis channel helping in ATP synthesis, and also there is also formation of NADPH2 where the protons which can be used from the organic compounds not only give it to ubiquinone but also can be helpful for forming NADPH2. So students, I've already explained about cyclic photophosphorylation. Just I've continued the process, that's all. So you can see that there is a cyclic mechanism in the whole process where cytochrome C55 continues with the activation of bacterial chlorophyll, and hence the electrons are flowing again through ferredoxin, ubiquinone, cytochrome CC1 and cytochrome C555. Coming to the non-cyclic photophosphorylation, so you are seeing here that the electron carriers are like this. You have the P890 bacterial chlorophyll, ferredoxin reducing substance, then ferredoxin. The ferredoxin reducing substance can be a pyruvate, and ferredoxin, followed by you have the electron transfer. Let me go back there. So the photosystem activates at 890 nanometers, and the chlorophyll excites and releases electron, accepted by FRS and followed by ferredoxin. Okay, and the ferredoxin further gives electrons to NAD. Here all of you have to observe that the hydrogen sulfide is going to continue, otherwise it would have stopped there. H2S will be able to continue this, where it is going to split into 2 proton and 2 electron. 2 protons are combining with NAD along with 2 electrons to form NADH2, which is going to be NADPH2 further, which is one of the byproducts of a light reaction. The 2 electrons are continued to ubiquinone. Ubiquinone can also pump 2 protons across the membrane and transfer 2 electrons to cytochrome C552. And further electron is transferred back to bacterial chlorophyll, that is P890. So what do you understand, children, here? You understand that chlorobium and chromatium, where they use H2S gas, shows a non-cyclic photophosphorylation. Why it's called non-cyclic is there's a break in the whole process where NAD is involved in between to form NADPH2, and hydrogen sulfide is going to continue the cycle. Okay, that is why it's called as a non-cyclic photophosphorylation. Concept is the same. Again, 2 protons accumulated in the outer membrane enter the ATP synthesis channel to form the ATP. The other method of non-cyclic photophosphorylation is called the Z pathway, where you are able to see that cyanobacteria like Anabaena can show this. It's a very important topic. Again, we have to understand, where just a similar concept is found in plants also. The 2 photosystems, children, here. Photosystem 2 is the first one. Photosystem 1 is the second one. Photosystem 2, as you are seeing, photosystem 2 has the chlorophyll A, and below that is the manganese chloride complex, where it's going to help in the donation of electron from water. Let's understand first. A photon of light strikes the chlorophyll and gives electron to pheophytin. Okay, so chlorophyll becomes unstable by losing an electron. So it pulls an electron from manganese, as you're seeing the red arrow mark there. And the manganese is now going to be converted from manganese to manganic form. Okay, manganic form is unstable form, manganese to manganic. Now manganic form is unstable, so it pulls electron from water. Okay, so that's you get water splitting in this mechanism. Water is the electron donor here. Okay, so the electron is going to enter is going to pass on to chlorophyll, and the 2 protons are going to be used up in NADPH2 formation. You can see the arrow mark written towards other end of this cycle, and you can see oxygen is formed here. That is why it's called as oxygenic photosynthesis. Okay, please remember, non-cyclic cyanobacteria non-cyclic photophosphorylation in cyanobacteria is called oxygenic photosynthesis. The other 2 what you studied is called anoxygenic photosynthesis, because there H2S gas is used and here water is used. Wherever water is used, it's called oxygenic photosynthesis. Okay, so from now you can understand the further steps. Electron is donated to pheophytin. Pheophytin is accepting and getting reduced and donating electron to plastoquinone. So it's like a class of quinones only again. Plastoquinone A, plastoquinone B, and the proton is pumped. Plastoquinones, you know that they accept protons from the cytoplasm, so they will pump the proton across the membrane. Okay, and electrons are transferred similarly from plastoquinone A to B, B to cytochrome B6, and then to cytochrome F. Okay, so cytochrome F donates electron finally to plastocyanin. Plastocyanin is written in blue color here, PC. So it's a mobile electron carrier, plastocyanin. Okay, that is going to carry the electrons to the next electron, that is the next photosystem called PS1. Okay, photosystem 1 will have two chlorophyll A and B and a lot of xanthophylls and carotenoids, which we already know. Okay, so now the electron is passed on from the, so you can see this, there's a chlorophyll A0 and then chlorophyll A1. The two types of chlorophylls you can see here. The second photosystem 1, photosystem PS1 I'm talking about, that activates at P700, whereas the PS2, which I discussed earlier, activates at 680. Okay, therefore P680 and this is P700. So chlorophyll A0 accepts electron, donates electron to chlorophyll A1, finally to FX, then FEA, FEB complex, then to ferredoxin, from ferredoxin to flavoprotein. So alternative oxidation reduction keeps happening, and finally electron is donated to NADP. Okay, and the two protons from water which has got, that will come here, combine with NADP with two electrons and two protons to become NADPH2. Okay, and observe the proton motive force which is shown in the top there. Two protons enter the ATP synthesis channel and help in the ATP synthesis, just like your oxidative phosphorylation. So all of you understand that the photophosphorylation, whether it's cyclic or non-cyclic, it ends up in giving ATP and also NADPH2. But all of you should remember that what is oxygenic or non-anoxygenic. Okay, here we call it as oxygenic because water is the donor of electron and proton and partial oxygen is released, therefore it's called as oxygenic photosynthesis, whereas the other two, cyclic and non-cyclic, which you found in chlorobium, corymecium and rhodosparinum, no, they're all, it is called anoxygenic photosynthesis. So in the exam, if they ask about these differences, you have to note these two main differences. Okay, so now we all understood that photophosphorylation means ATP synthesis and also NADPH2 is formed. With this background, we will be studying about the C3 and the C4 cycle. Okay, so Calvin cycle. So I think with these two short videos, I will conclude here and I will continue with the C3 cycle and the C4 cycle in the next video. Thank you, children. Please keep studying. Okay. If any doubts are there, you can clarify later.